Dun Shows World.
Welcome to Shows World, gamers. Josh here, and as this week draws to a close, I wanted to take a moment to look at this week's biggest news stories, gaming announcements, and this week's new video game releases. If this is your first time on the channel, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button to join in on the fun. Alright, let's kick off this week in review with a few news stories. Now, in a huge leak of Xbox internal documents this week from the Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal, we got info on a lot of past, present, and future plans in the works at Microsoft, including their console generation roadmap, which unveiled their plans to have their next generation console ready for a 2028 release. We also got an in-depth look at a Pro-like version of the current Xbox Series systems planned for a late 2024 release, a new controller that has gyro support, and a ton of new features. There was also a document outlining ongoing plans to try to acquire Nintendo that really got the gaming world as a whole pretty fired up. Now, in some really disappointing news this week for fans of fighting games, fans of Mortal Kombat, fans of portable gaming, fans of Nintendo, and to be specific, those of us who were excited to play Mortal Kombat 1 on the Nintendo Switch, the game is an absolute mess with abysmal graphics and glitches, frame rate drops, and some loading times that have gamers upset, especially compared to the other versions of the game, which have none of these issues. This was an absolute fail. Nobody expected the game to run as well on the Switch, but to release this version is bad enough. To charge the premium price of $70 is absolutely ridiculous. Now, over in Japan, the Tokyo Game Show is kicking off and will take place over the weekend with all the big gaming companies in attendance, and Xbox with their biggest showing ever at the show as they make a push over in the Japanese market to gain some kind of share of that market. The Switch 2 is pretty much guaranteed to be shown behind closed doors, so we will definitely be listening closely for any info that may come out of those meetings, as well as any announcements that come from the multi-day event. Next up, let's take a look at some gaming announcements. Now, Warhaven received a console announcement trailer this week, joining the already announced PC version of the game. That's the 12 vs 12 multiplayer PvP free-to-play online medieval fantasy warfare third-person game is coming to the PlayStation 5 as well as the Xbox Series systems this fall.
Warhaven.
Now, Rusty Rabbit received a concept trailer that released at the Tokyo Game Show. The game is a 2.5D Metroidvania side-scrolling action-adventure post-apocalyptic game where rabbits have inherited the earth. I just recently did a playthrough of Fist and really enjoyed it, and this game is giving off similar vibes, so I'm definitely going to keep my eye on this game. So far, the game is scheduled for a release in 2024 on the PlayStation 5 and PC. Now, Bluey the video game was announced this week for the younger gamers out there, releasing this holiday on November 17th, just in time for Christmas. The game will be available on the Nintendo Switch, the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 5, the PC, the Xbox One, and Xbox Series systems. The game will have you taking Bluey on an all-new adventure with 4 playable characters and includes the original voice actors from the popular kids television show. Now, on the extreme opposite spectrum of the gaming genres, Hotel Barcelona received a gameplay reveal trailer at the Tokyo Game Show, and this game, it just looks absolutely crazy. The game is a time-looping action game influenced by the history of horror movies, and it plays as a 2.5D action game that parodies slasher films from the minds of legendary game developers Swery65 and Suda51. The game will launch on the PlayStation 5, PC, and Xbox Series systems in 2024, and this is another game that I'm definitely going to keep my eye on. Alright gamers, let's finish up with this week's new game releases. Now, Payday 3 did release this week on the PlayStation 5, PC, and Xbox Series systems, including a day one release on Game Pass. The game is a first-person multiplayer co-op shooter. You and your team will complete a number of heists that will grow more difficult as you play through the game. The game can be played single player, but where this franchise really shines is with online multiplayer co-op when you get a couple of friends to work together to complete the heists. Now, Lizap is an awesome, dark, steampunk game inspired by Pinocchio with the brutal, unforgiving Soulsborne style. In the game, you play as a puppet created by Geppetto and have to face off against foreboding dark monsters as you unravel the story in this beautifully crafted nightmare. The impressive graphics and amazing art style. If you're looking for a challenge, this game released this week on the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series systems, and this game also was a day one release on Game Pass, and I've been playing it and having a blast with it. Now, Evil Wizard is a pixel art action RPG where players take on the role of a defeated final boss in their quest for revenge against the cursed hero who bested you. The game plays in a 3/4 top-down in a classic Zelda style like the Super Nintendo version, and this game is just a lot of fun with funny dialogue, pop culture Easter eggs, fun and fast combat, puzzles. This game is a must-play indie hidden gem. The game released earlier this year on Xbox systems and PC, and it is scheduled to release at some point this year on PlayStation systems, but Nintendo Switch owners finally can get their hands on the game now, and I highly recommend playing this game. It is one of my favorite indie game releases so far this year. Now, Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways DLC released this week, giving us a reason to jump back into the world of Resident Evil 4. This time, taking control of Ada Wong, experiencing her story that takes place alongside the events of the mainline campaign and influencing those events, giving us a deeper look into the storyline and this popular character. The DLC is available now for $9.99 on the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, PC, and Xbox systems. There's also a free update for the Resident Evil 4 Mercenaries mode that adds Ada Wong and Albert Wesker as playable characters. Now, Avatar: The Last Airbender Quest for Balance brings back the hugely popular IP to the video game world with an all-new game that released this week on the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, PC, Xbox One, and Xbox Series systems. In the game, you will experience the epic adventure of the original Avatar: The Last Airbender series, as you play as Aang and his 8 friends to explore the most unique locations from the series, solve challenging puzzles, and experience the most heart-touching moments of Aang's story. Alright gamers, that concludes this week in review for the week ending on September 22nd. The week started with us having an absolute blast, spinning, boosting, and jockeying for position as we continued just having a ton of fun battling online in F-Zero 99. Then we found out Elder Scrolls 6 will be an Xbox and PC exclusive when it releases in, like 3+ years from now. And the week ended with the Tokyo Game Show kicking off over in Japan. But let me know anything we may have missed in the comments, and thanks for joining us today, gamers. Showed World out.